Hello and welcome back to the Rugby Hour podcast. I'm Hugh and I'm joined by my co-host Kieran.
Hello, we're back again and we've got a lot of stuff this episode. We've got some internationals, some premiership and just a lot more discussion along the way, as you'd expect from this episode. This professional rugby podcast. So I guess without further ado, should we get into it?
First we will say is that we're doing this virtually this week because I'm still Kieran's in Exeter. So if there's any technical difficulties or sound issues, then bear with us this week. Anyway, I want to talk about first the international setup over the weekend. We'll go on to the Premiership later. First of all, Australia beat Japan 23-32. That's 5 in a row for Australia.
Yeah, I feel Australia almost like South Africa dipped earlier in a few years ago. Australia haven't really been at the top tier of rugby for a while, so it's good to see them winning again, definitely.
Yeah, and beating the Springboks twice in that run.
Yeah, definitely.
Now, Japan again are still a very decent side, although
Japan, I think, a lot of people's favourite second international team as well.
I thought both teams looked a bit rusty, but Japan haven't.
Did you get to watch the game? I'm guessing.
I didn't watch it. I watched the highlights. So it was one at like 5.
Yeah.
Something. But anyway, that leaves Australia 5 in a row. I saw this on I can't remember what it was. I think it might have been Instagram, and it's I think it was Rugby Unpopular Opinions, and one of them was Australia aren't actually a bad team. They just play New Zealand so often that they look worse than they actually are. Now,
I mean, that's a good point, to be fair.
It's a valid point.
Yeah.
All blacks at least 3 times a year.
Yeah, and with a team like the All Blacks, they're always you'd expect them to beat most teams on the planet.
So,
I mean, I think if England played the All Blacks 3 times a year, everyone would think they're absolutely shocking. Not to say they're not. I mean, they did come 5th in the Six Nations, but we'll move on from that. But no, Who else have they played in the past 5 games? I can't remember.
Argentina twice and South Africa twice. So they've beaten the world champions.
Yeah, so they've beaten quality sides. I mean,
and both those games they deserve to beat the Springboks.
Yeah.
But who do they have this autumn? They have England, Wales, and must be someone else who I can't think of. But against England and Wales, that'd be interesting.
Yeah.
Fair. I think especially the Wales-Australia game. I think that that'll be a really good game. I think historically, Wales-Australia's always been a really, well, in recent times at least, when I've been watching, I've really enjoyed just watching Australia against
Wales.
Australia.
Yeah.
So anyway, that was a quick thing about Australia. Let's move on to the other one, which was the All Blacks over in the USA.
I've just looked at the score on this one. It's
they scored 16 tries, beating the USA Eagles by a score of 14 points to 104.
Not going good for the USA right now, is it? Not getting World Cup qualification.
In fairness, they could do. They got to play Chile for it though. But the US, they had none of their European players, so their whole 23 was from the MLR. Well,
I mean, if they're from the US, they shouldn't be in the. Or do you mean US players playing in Europe?
Yeah, US players playing in Europe. Yeah. But
I mean, you could take that as a good thing or a bad thing that the MLR is getting international players.
I think,
or that they got absolutely smashed. Yeah. I think the MLR has the potential to be absolutely massive as well.
It does, and I was watching Rugby Tonight on Sunday, and they had Ben Foden on, the former England fullback who's over playing for whatever the New York team is called.
Yeah.
So he was talking about, and he says that it's getting better every year. Right now, standard is sort of about championship level, but the
I mean, for a really new league, it's really young, that league. So I mean, for it to be championship level with the difference in interest you've got between, because you look at England, you've got people are brought up from really young age playing rugby. In America, not so much. It's a decision they have to make quite like later on in their teens, as opposed to getting into it at like under sevens or something. So,
but hopefully, as the sort of MLR grows, and we're hosting a World Cup, which we'll get onto in a bit.
We will get onto that.
We hope that rugby grows in America and they get into it at high school, at college sort of age.
Yeah,
you see in America how big college football is.
If rugby becomes a more regular thing there. As well, it could be really, really interesting to see. Will we see a USA brand of rugby? You've got Northern Hemisphere, like Europe style of rugby. You've got Southern Hemisphere, sort of what's it called? Fancy style or big hits, basically. I mean, what would you expect from America? Because I imagine the identity of that national team will change a fair bit once there is more of a national culture around the team.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see if and how rugby grows over the next few years.
Yeah,
which will hopefully be aided by hosting a World Cup. So earlier this week or last week, America launched their bid for either the 2027 or the 2031 Men's World Cup and the 2029 Women's World Cup.
Yeah.
Now, should World Rugby give the World Cup to America?
Well, despite it would mean I wouldn't have the opportunity to go to any of the World Cup games unless I flew to America.
Yeah.
I think for rugby as a whole, it would do it a world of good.
Yeah.
To market itself in America.
Yeah.
And to have this massive event in America. I think it's the next logical step with American rugby growth, because it's still, I mean, if you think of the 2031, is it 2030? It is.
Yeah, so they bid for the 2027 or the 20 World Cup.
If it is the latter one, that gives a whole load of time for the MLR to grow.
To grow.
I mean, even 2027 will be a long amount of time.
But I think that's the World Cup too soon.
I think as well. I think the 2031, I think that's the ideal time to push it towards the American market. Because who knows, maybe America will be absolutely incredible at rugby by then. I mean, who knows what the next decade is going to bring. They could do. But, I think it would definitely be a great move.
But you look at all the stadiums America has, not just for growing in America, it'd be a great place to hold it with all these incredible venues they have. It'd be great for rugby, and definitely great for, because I think the US has a very crowded sports market.
Yeah.
American football, your baseball, your basketball, your ice hockey, and now proper football. Our football has, of course, been growing in America and has actually got to a pretty decent level of support in America. So that's only saturating the market further. But I thought that rugby sort of has all the ingredients.
It does.
It combines all the best aspects of the American sports.
It does, yeah. And it's more fast-paced as well than the majority of American sports.
Well, depending on the game you're watching. It can have the pace of a basketball. Not quite, that's an exaggeration, but it can be quick pace like basketball is. It has the big hits that American football has.
Yeah.
It has, you get very aggressive players, say like ice hockey has.
Exactly.
It has all the makings to be big in America.
And there can be a massive culture around rugby as well. You get it in the UK as well. Yeah. And I'm sure every other place around Europe really, but there is that, because you see American football culture is massive as well, and you get a whole group of people get behind it. You have this same opportunity with rugby. I think because some sports there just isn't really enough aggression. Like rugby's got that aggression to get people really involved into it. Yeah, as well. But I think as well, if the World Cup goes to America, it will be a great opportunity for the players as well, because they'll be put on a stage unlike any other. You look at the stadiums they've got there.
And you know what? I feel like if you say we're going to host the World Cup in America, then it gives American rugby a goal to get to.
Yeah.
We want to perform well at our World Cup.
Imagine that for a story. If the USA won their World Cup.
I think more realistically is getting out their pool.
Yeah.
Which, if they did, England would still be the worst home host of a World Cup.
Yeah. As well, though, if rugby goes to America, it will force rugby pitches into big stadiums.
Yeah, exactly.
That would have not had a rugby pitch in there before. They'll be like, this could actually be... You're basically putting rugby infrastructure into the USA.
The thing is, the US has the stadiums, there, because a lot of the time you use the American football stadiums, which, I mean, what was it? I think at the New Zealand, the US v All Blacks game on the weekend, it was an American football stadium of about 70,000 capacity. Now they got 50,000 fans in there.
That's very good.
It's very, very good.
You struggle. Some England games don't even sell out, I'm pretty sure.
Yeah.
At Twickenham.
Yeah.
So that actually surprises me. I expected maybe less than half capacity, but
that's
50,000.
Really good.
And it's really promising as well. Whereabouts in the US was it held? Do you know?
It was in Washington.
Okay.
Yeah.
Because of course that's another thing with America or the USA, I should rather say, is where do they play? Because they've got so many places dotted around like England. Anyone in England can travel to that stadium.
Yeah.
And it is if they want to for an international game.
Yeah.
But USA is a much, much bigger country.
Yeah.
But then I guess you've almost got. Could there eventually be two leagues in the USA?
Well, I think every year they're getting new franchises. I think they call into the MLR. So I just focusing on growing that first.
Definitely, yeah.
But that the league's grown really well since it started, and really looking forward to see how it can sort of flourish over the next few years. Because of course, got players like Chris Robshaw over there. Marlon signed again for San Diego. You of course had Matt Gitter and Adam Ashley Cooper.
Yeah, and getting those experienced players over there is almost giving young children in the USA idols to look up to. Say, I want to play rugby, I want to do this, and then you get this whole breed of young American players that will come up play in the MLR, and that's only going to be a virtuous cycle for the USA rugby.
But it continues to grow and get better, and television coverage of it over there has improved apparently. So
we're better than BT. Cover more games, probably.
Yeah, probably. But I've lost my train of thought.
Oh, no.
Really insightful. The way MLR started, really positive. It can only go up from here.
Yeah, you have to hope.
Who knows? 2031 World Cup. Hopefully America host it, and America's a rugby powerhouse.
It's hard to think of right now, but it could very well happen. I mean, you heard it here first.
I mean, go back to 2011. You wouldn't have thought by 2019 Japan would be making it to the quarterfinals and beating Ireland and Scotland in the pool stages, would you?
Exactly, yeah.
So you never know. But anyway, that's this week. That's last weekend's internationals and US World Cup bid. Shall we move on to the Premiership?
We shall.
Right then, let's start Friday night. Northampton Saints 66, Worcester Warriors 14. Kieran, any thoughts?
I think this needs one word, and it's yikes.
Yeah.
I mean, we said it last week, and I'm lost for words with what to say, because Worcester are a team that should be doing well with the squad they've got, and clearly and it's not like there's been individual players playing well.
No,
there's been
played well on
no, and Worcester. You don't look at that Worcester team and see anyone putting in a shift for the Worcester side. There's no, maybe it's a lack of culture, maybe no one's feeling they should put their body on the line for that Worcester badge, because there just seems a general lack of effort around the pitch. And I don't want to be you can't be anything but critical as well at this point. Saints were good, but they just exploited that Worcester defence so easily.
I mean, after the first 10 minutes, Worcester just didn't know what they were doing.
You knew where the game was going after that.
They didn't know. They didn't look like they knew how to attack.
Yeah.
their defence was poor. It was just all round.
The thing I noticed is they got stretched and sucked in. So it was like one phase, Saints got it out to the other wing, then they stretch it to the wing on the other side. Most defences in a Premiership level should be able to last at least 5 phases of being stretched side to side. Maybe once there's a little line break is when the defences start to break. But there was no line breaks or anything. They get stretched to one side, easy passes to the other side of the pitch, and there's acres of space for the Saints players. And it's like they're just not Premiership level. And I think what you wanted to discuss because of this is ring fencing the Premiership
having a negative impact. It's happening every week.
But it was happening before ring fencing, wasn't it?
It was. But they would still do enough to stay up.
Yeah.
We felt in games that they would target or felt mattered, you would get players absolutely putting their body on the lines.
Exactly. And the players have got no reason to. They're just like, oh, we're in a bad club. We're not going to win anyway. What's the point? Almost. That's what it feels like.
Going down. There's no downside.
Yeah.
It was not great from Worcester, and it will be a long season.
It gives me hope for Bristol to finally get a win next week. Or not next weekend after this.
Yeah, but Saints, there were some. Well, they won by 56 points. So of course, there were good performances, particularly from man of the match Alex Mitchell at scrum half.
Yeah,
possibly could have been an England team. In all honesty, he's been playing well for a while. But
well, how did England go from having really small depth in the scrum half position to having a load of really young, really talented players all playing out of their skins in the Premiership recently?
Because Alex Mitchell put in a very good performance, and I thought Dan Biggar was good again at 10.
He was.
He'll be a miss for Wales this weekend, but.
I haven't seen any updates on his injury because he looked like he was carrying something on.
Like the last 20 minutes, but he carried on. He pulled through. But I don't know. I haven't seen anything. I'd assume he's fine. We'll probably see him this weekend against Leicester Tigers.
Yeah, just for a disclaimer as well, this is the one game I did manage to watch this weekend. So that's why I can actually talk about it.
Yeah. So anyway, but unfortunately for that, should we move on to?
I don't think there's much more to say about that.
So then, we'll start with the televised game on Saturday, the big one. Big upset down in Devon with London Irish beating Exeter Chiefs by a score of 21 points.
Absolutely huge, and it makes me scared for this weekend as a Bristol fan.
Did you see this result coming? I'm fairly sure we get our last predictions. No, we didn't.
You could have asked me 10 times and I would have said Chiefs every time.
Yeah. But you know what? London Irish were excellent. Their defence was incredible. They made 217 tackles that game.
Oh, wow. That's incredible.
Yeah. They put in a big shift. And you know what? I think a big shout out to go playing on the open side was Tom Pearson for his professional debut. He made 24 tackles, top tackler.
That's incredible.
That is, and he played. He had an incredible.
What position again?
He's open side.
Open side.
Yeah, but big win for Irish, and you felt for the past few weeks their performances have been good. They just haven't been getting the results.
Yeah,
they've missed, of course, late opportunities against, say, Sale Sharks, who they drew. They drew Foster last week. They missed a late drop goal against the Saints. So I think this could be a real big
things coming together for London Irish.
Yeah, it could be a real big turning point, this victory.
They've just got to make sure it's not a one-off performance. They can put consistently in.
Got to follow up against Bristol.
Maybe that will take half a season for them to figure out what makes them play well in games like these.
Yeah, but it feels big that they got not only the performance but the result this time.
May I ask? I didn't.
Exeter.
I didn't watch the game, but what were Chiefs like in attack? Were they throwing a lot at them? Were they?
Yeah, they did. Irish defended very, very well. But I have to say, it was another very disappointing performance from Chiefs. They've had a bit of an indifferent start this season.
Yeah.
It wasn't the Chiefs that we saw the past few weeks. It was the Chiefs of the first 2 games of the season.
Yeah.
They did just look poor.
It is quite weird this season. It's hard to place every single team, I find, at the moment.
Yeah,
because you've not got your benchmark.
We're very much in a anyone can beat anyone at the moment.
Yeah, you've not got. Usually, you have the top teams that are your benchmark, like your Chiefs. Well, that would be your Chiefs and your Bristol. But because they're both doing quite poor, you can't place how everyone's moved really relative to each other. I think until Leicester, you can tell are doing incredibly well, of course. But until how many rounds in is it going to be until we can accurately predict matches? As I'll get on later with our failures in predictions for this week's game.
Yeah. But Chiefs. One thing I would say is they went back with Joe Simmons at fly half this week because he's of course been out of the squad for the last few weeks. I have to say, disappointed by his performance.
Really.
That's that. He's definitely not got that starting shirt guaranteed. I think that's what Rob Bax wants to build. They want to build that competition in the squad. Look at him
it's always
last
a good thing.
Season when he was playing Jack Noel at fullback instead of Stuart Hogg and leaving Hogg on the bench.
Yeah.
So he's building up that squad depth and that competition for places. But this year, they're not playing. They're not just. They just don't. It just doesn't seem to be quite clicking for them. And what might be sort of an interesting point is now that if you get held up over the try line, it's a goal line dropout.
Yeah.
Or a 5 metre scrum. That for a lot of teams relieves pressure because then instead of defending a scrum on your 5 metre line, you can push them back to.
I thought that law change would hurt Chiefs one of the most.
Yeah, because they can't then sustain that
because it allows you to be able to concede ground on the line, on your defence, and just let them fall on you. And I'm sure many teams against Chiefs are going to use it as a tactic if Chiefs don't change.
Well, I think teams have in a way trying to do that, but of course before it would result in a 5 metre scrum, so you're just having more and more pressure put on you. But now you get to relieve that.
But it's almost beneficial to hold it up to you now, whereas a 5 metre scrum, yes, it's beneficial that they don't score a try.
But against the Chiefs, it's more just putting off the inevitable.
Yeah.
It's more prolong the inevitable, a 5 metre scrum again and again.
But now it's almost a better option to hold it up or over the line than it is to tackle them and then wait again.
But then again, Chiefs didn't lose that because of one rule change. They lost it because they just weren't good enough, and Irish put in a very determined, very spirited performance, and they fully deserved that win. It was not a bad performance from any one of them. I mean, at one point, Paddy Jackson was jackling. you know you're going well when you fly half as jackling.
Yeah, and you know something's going wrong for the clear out of the other team.
Yeah. But they just looked off it, and I think it's going to be a big week and probably few weeks for Rob Baxter to get firing again.
Yeah, you'd have to think so. Yeah. Do they have any bye weeks soon?
No. I couldn't think.
I don't know who's got a bye week when. So
no.
But should we move on to the next game?
Yeah, move on. Gloucester against Newcastle, which was meant to be Reece Samet against Radwan, but no.
And then
Newcastle rob us of that. They rob us of it.
They spoil our fun. That's all they're here to do.
Sure,
they could have at least won.
Yeah, they could have, but it wasn't even that good. I mean, the tries came from driving mauls.
Yeah.
What's the point? Just play Radwan.
Let's have a little bit of entertainment.
But
now we're going to have to wait. Who knows how long to find out who the fastest winger in the Premiership
is. Exactly. But
we all know it's Reece Samet, we just want confirmation.
Yeah, we do. But before we actually talk about the game, last week World Rugby said you can now wear leggings. And we had the first player to do it, which was Johnny May. Wingers, eh? God, wingers.
Usually, because Gloucester have had a new 4G pitch put in recently.
Yeah, they have.
And as an avid rugby player myself, I very much hate 4G pitches.
As do a lot of people.
As do many Premiership players. They've spoken, and the grazes you get are horrible.
Yeah.
So maybe it's a discussion about players are having to wear leggings to survive these pitches. I mean, of course, it is typical. It's only the winger who had to put leggings on to cope with it. But
the forwards can't, because you can't jump in a line out with leggings on. They can't be lifted.
Yeah, exactly.
With forwards, you just genuinely can't.
Yeah.
The backs is where you can, but you just shouldn't.
And the forwards are the ones that actually realistically have the...
get the grazers.
Yeah, get the grazers from all the tackles and everything.
Yeah.
And
yeah. So Johnny May becoming the first to
I
not
wonder
really
if we'll see more players. How many players we're going to see doing it?
Yeah. Well, another one over the weekend, and we'll get on to in a second.
As well, you remember Jack Knowles' Red Bull scrum cap?
Yeah.
Is our players now going to be sponsored by legging companies like Under Armour individually, separate to the team's kit brand, and get a bit of extra money that way?
In the Sarries Wasps game, they had Danny Kerr on commentary, and he kept going on about leggings. They started to ask, Ali Eakin started to ask questions if he was sponsored by a leggings company.
Of course he's talking about it.
So anyway, we should actually probably talk about the actual rugby a bit rather than fashion. And so Gloucester get the win.
Yeah.
Big win for them.
I didn't expect Gloucester to win, actually.
Well, they got a big... they won 29 points to 20.
Yeah.
That takes them up to 5th in the table.
Interesting.
You have to say, after I would argue, disappointing season last year...
Definitely.
With George Skivington, I wouldn't say it's exactly clicking, but it's certainly...
It's improving.
Under improvement. And they were, so that's a big win for Gloucester. Mind you, it wasn't the greatest of games. I mean, all the tries came from driving mauls. It was...
Yeah, although if you're able to grind out in those games, if you're able to play ugly...
Yeah,
that is an important...
It was very much a game of, take your points when they're on offer.
Yeah, as you're very much, I know, very much...
full credit to Gloucester. And you'd have to say, what are they? They're 3 wins, 2 losses and 1 draw to start the season. Currently on 17 points. You have to say that's a very...
I mean, it's a... I'd say it fits where they are on the table. It's a very 5th place start. And if they keep that form up... I think top half of the table is a realistic aim for Gloucester.
It is, but top 6 is a lot of very good teams in this league.
Yes, and if Exeter, Bristol, I mean, you can't believe that teams that were that good last season are going to be that far at the bottom
for the
whole season. Something's going to start clicking, you have to feel, and in the second half of the season, you could see almost a comeback from those teams to build up the table, which will be really interesting to see, I feel. We could be in for a really good season.
And it'd be definitely interesting to see how Gloucester fare with that and if they can keep up their mixed but good.
On the whole, good start. I mean,
on the whole.
They've lost less times than they've won, so
that's always
a good thing.
So anyway, moving on now to Quins versus Bath.
Oh.
So
I'm only laughing because you're a Bath supporter.
Yeah, another loss. That makes Bath 0 from 5 to start the season. And over the past 2 weeks, we've conceded 102 points in our last 2 games.
You deserve... I feel Bath, it's not all bad like Worcester. When we talked about Worcester and we talked about them losing, that was atrocious. But Bath, I mean, a 31-17 against Quins as well.
And we went into half-time this week, so that's a win. We went in 17-12 up. Of course, no points for the second half. We were much improved.
Well, we all know how mighty Quins' second halves are, so...
Yeah, well, we were much improved. I'm not saying we were good, because I don't think we were good. We were just much improved from the absolute monstrosity we saw in Sarries. But I'm convinced Bath just don't know how to defend. There are so many in that defence. It's so leaky.
The defence is a system thing, and I think you can practice that quite. It's not down to individual players. You can train that in quite well. I feel it's an easier issue to solve.
Yeah.
When that's about the only thing.
Yeah.
I mean, 31 points isn't. I mean, it's a fair amount, but it's not a massive amount. It's not
awful, but it doesn't mean it's great. I mean, add on to that. Not add on to that, but there was a tackle in the game. Joe Marler got a yellow card. I don't know if you've seen it, but I haven't seen it. I don't know how it wasn't a red, and that's not just me talking.
Who was the ref?
Luke Pearce.
Oh, that's interesting. I was expecting you to stay away in Barnes. So.
No. The tackle was sort of Tom de Glanville. He was sort of tackled by another player up high.
Yeah.
And Joe Marler went really low, didn't get any arms round, and de Glanville ended up landing on his neck/head.
So it was like a tip tackle, basically, but no arms.
Wasn't even a tip tackle, he just sort of went over Marler.
Or a chop tackle, I guess.
An attempted chop tackle that was very, very
poor
and had no, and really, but I listen, we didn't lose because of that, but I don't know how it wasn't red. But or at least Joe Marler I thought was very, very lucky. Something which I thought was interesting, I'm talking about this from a very Bath point of view, but I'm not going to apologise for that.
I'm just seeing pictures of it now, and he lands unarguably directly on his neck. I
think Joe Marler was very lucky.
Got a video of it here.
I think he was lucky to not get red for it.
I don't know how he doesn't.
No.
Because any day, that's such a poor tackle.
Yeah, he's a very lucky boy. And the Quins fans were booing the fact he got a yellow. No, he's very lucky. You should be grateful.
Extremely lucky. The only thing that makes it slightly better for him is the fact that who's that? Esterhazen's making the tackle on him and almost pushing him over.
Yeah.
Because if you look at before that, he's almost lifted by Esterhazen over Marler.
But still, it's awful from Marler. But anyway,
yeah,
I want to get off that because that's not the reason we lost.
No.
What I'll go with for my last Bath talking point now, and then I'll talk about Quins a bit. To at least provide some perspective on both teams. What I found very interesting was Cipriani was dropped. Or at least put on the bench. He was dropped.
He was such a woeful path, especially in that.
Against Sarries, you would struggle to say a Bath player had a good game in that game.
Yeah.
I thought Cipriani stood out as particularly dreadful.
And that's key from your 10 as well.
He was not good. So he was dropped. And do you know what? Orlando Bailey had a very, very good game.
So, is he... Now, where does he sit for you?
Do you know what? Because de Glanville actually went off injured from that Marler tackle.
Yeah.
Cipriani came on.
Yeah.
And Bath decided to put Orlando Bailey at fullback and Cipriani at 10. And that's the point onwards where we started to play worse.
That's interesting.
Orlando Bailey against Bristol a few weeks ago, I thought had a very, very, very good game. Very good game. Against Sarries, when he came on, we played a lot better. I know there's many other reasons to that. Basically, Sarries stopped playing, so they didn't need to play anymore.
Yeah.
But Orlando Bailey looked very good again. And against Quins, he looked very good when at fly half. And has obviously been impressing in training where we're dropping Danny Cipriani. So is it just time then for Bath to say, you're going to be our number one guy? You're going to be our starter. We'll have Cipriani on the bench if we ever...
I mean, if you base it on performance, I must say, I've referenced Bristol a lot when talking about other teams, but Madigan a few years ago, with Sheedy, the young academy guy coming through, Madigan was your choice any day of the week if you look at caps, if you look at everything. Then Sheedy starts to play better off the bench, starts to make a difference.
Yeah.
It's about... And look how much that paid off for Bristol when they made the call.
Yeah.
Put Sheedy in. I think Bath, they've got to pull the trigger in more games. And just
look at it, Cipriani, he's only here till the end of the year. He's not going to be sticking around.
Well, you might as well get your young guns in then.
I think it's the time to start backing Orlando Bailey as our number one and as our number 110 as our first.
I would have to agree, because
I think he's very young. He's only going to keep getting better. He's already playing very well.
Yeah,
his ball kicking is sound. I really don't see why he shouldn't be the starting 10 from now on.
If anything, the only reason you keep Cipriani playing is just to give him more competition and learn more off Cipriani. But I mean, if he's making as much of a difference as you're saying, you've got to start him.
I think he is anyway, and he'd be my 10 from now on. Anyway, I want to talk about Quins as well. They are very good, Quins, and they did play well. I'm not going to say they were...
Second half performance again.
They played very well. Esther Hazen was very good. Marcus Smith, as always, just absolutely incredible.
Just class.
Class. Quins were very, very good. And in honesty, I think that's about all I can say about them.
It's all you can say every week, really, at the moment.
Why Bath are so bad at the moment. But anyway, if we can move on from this, I don't want to talk about anything. Kieran.
Well, it looks like another great game, actually.
Yeah, we can move on to Leicester Tigers against Sale Sharks. Now, not the most interesting of games. It was 6-3 at half-time. The final score was 19 points to 11. But you'd have to say... real big test for Leicester Tigers, this one, and they pulled.
Yeah. Well, yeah. I mean, the Tigers' start to the season, you couldn't really get much better than their start to the season.
No, you actually can't.
They stood up to every challenge they've come against so far. There's not much you can say about them, really. I
mean, every player on that team was playing well, and they had their back row of both Visa and Van Staden, who were both just really powerful. They're absolutely incredible ball carriers. They're very South African.
I'll be intrigued to see how they cope through the autumn internationals period.
Well, they're keeping George Ford.
Yeah, true, actually.
Oh, and George Ford has been immense so far. And
he's a key cog to that
he is. And for them to be keeping him over the autumn, that is big.
It's massive, because you look at most other teams, they're probably going to be losing their 10s in the Premiership.
Exactly. And you know, I wouldn't fear for their particularly their pack, because their second choice pack beat Saracens.
True.
Their back row, they started the season without Visa or Van Staden, so they know how to play without that.
Yeah.
And the thing is, they're keeping their first choice centres, and their back three, they're only losing Freddie Stewart. They're keeping Harry Potter and Namani Nandolo.
Yeah.
So I think, and at scrum half, they've got Van Portfleet and Wigglesworth. So I would really be... Leicester aren't be disrupted through the international break, really. You wouldn't think so.
And I was going to say, can they keep this up the whole season? But from all the evidence you've seen so far, you've got to say surely.
Yeah.
They're putting in consistently good performances.
Yeah, very good.
And you can't even call it an upset anymore, Tigers Sharks.
No.
But, yeah.
But, yeah, that is... But anyway,
You didn't watch the game. It wasn't televised, was it? But
it wasn't televised. But
Sharks, I mean, you never expect a particularly high-scoring game from them.
No.
But were they out-muscled by Tigers?
They were, from what I saw on the highlights.
So, which is very interesting, because the Sharks love out-muscling people. And then they're getting out-muscled by the Sharks.
The Tigers South Africans were definitely better than the Sharks South Africans.
Yeah.
It was basically South Africa against South Africa.
Basically what we've discovered is, if you want to be dominant in the Premiership, you've got to get a bunch of South Africans.
Yeah. In all fairness, that's not a bad policy, considering they are the world champions. And from about the age of 6 years old, they're all about 6'8" and 18 stone.
Yeah, very true.
But anyway, the two big South African sides in the Premiership, Tigers and the Sharks, finishing 19-11. So we'll move on then to the final game of the weekend, which was Saracens against Wasps. Wasps, of course, had a very, very understrength team.
Yeah.
They're missing... God, how many players? 12 through injury at the moment, or something ridiculous. And also that they rested big players like Fafita, like Brad Shields.
Yeah, did they just write off the game?
I think they did. That being said, Wasps, I thought for a second string side, put in a good enough performance.
Was it not as bad as the scoreline suggests?
No, I wouldn't say that. But it was a second string Wasps side.
Yeah.
Against a full strength Saracens side. Do you know what? Yeah. I've seen actually a lot of people really praising the Saracens' performance, meaning like, oh, it's like watching the Barbars play.
Yeah.
I don't get that. I was watching the game and I thought the first half, Saracens were incredibly complacent.
Yeah.
They knew that they would win that game. So they played that first half as if the game was done. They were throwing the ball about for the whole time. The amount of knock-ons, forward passes there were, it really lacked accuracy and precision that you would expect from a Saracen side.
Yeah.
And I thought, and it carried on in the second half as well. Although I thought Saracens were actually much better in the second half, they were still throwing ridiculous passes, ridiculous offloads. And twice they conceded tries off trying these ridiculous things.
Yeah. I mean, being compared to the Barbarians is only good if you want your identity to be getting together with not much structure, chucking the ball about and not caring about winning.
They were ridiculous. And you know what? In commentary, they were comparing one of the Saracens' tries to the Gareth Edwards try for the Barbars against New Zealand in the 70s.
Yeah.
That a lot of people call the greatest try of all time. And they were comparing it to that. It was nothing like that. It was a terrible try. Wasps were terrible defensively. Saracens lacked accuracy and precision in attack. I really don't think that the game was as good as people made it out to be. I don't think that Saracens actually were as good as people.
Yeah, and the thing with scoring amazing-looking tries and like the best tries ever, it's easy to score good-looking tries against poor teams.
Yeah, but I don't even think they scored ridiculously good-looking tries.
No.
And I just.
It's almost like in football when you score a penalty. It always looks better when the goalkeeper at least puts some effort into dive.
Yeah, I mean, I just couldn't understand why people were praising the Saracens side so much. I didn't think they were good as people made it out to be. And I don't know if this is maybe an unpopular opinion, given the reaction I've seen, particularly on social media. But
I thought the Saracens fans had disappeared.
Yeah, but it's just what I'm going to say, because that's what I made of the game. I didn't enjoy the game. I didn't think it was that good. I mean, not just that, but the amount of times Wasps just made the complete wrong decision in attack, when to pass or to carry. You had I thought a really bad game was Houhard at scrum half.
Interesting, because he's usually a really solid.
He had a bad game, I thought. He tried this off a. I think it was at some point in the first half when the scoreline was actually not too bad. I think maybe like 14-3 or something or whatever. The Wasps went for a kick, and you had an excellent chase from Kibarigi, who gets the ball back.
Yeah.
They're on the. I think they're in the Saracens half now. And Houhard, instead of going to the open side where they had so many numbers, he goes to the blind side, tries a ridiculous offload in the 5-meter channel and knocks it on, and the Saracens actually end up scoring straight from that.
And that's basic stuff from your 9 as well.
But you know what? There was also the amount of times they had a clear, because a lot of the time, this is particularly in the first half, Saracens were very narrow in defence.
Yeah.
The amount of times that they had this massive overlap, or at least just numbers, they would carry instead of passing.
Yeah.
And at one point, I remember, I didn't even care about the game. I didn't care who won that or who won that. But at one point, I was screaming, numbers! But they just wouldn't.
It's frustrating when you've got a team that they're creating the space on the sides, and they're just like, nope, we must continue to do it this way.
It was actually deeply frustrating.
Yeah.
But anyway, Saracens getting a big win in that game. So,
Sarri's looking very strong.
they're still
they're collecting the wins.
they're still favourites to win the Premiership. Yeah.
That's the story. Gets promoted, gets Premiership title.
Exactly. Anyway, I think that now sort of rounds up this weekend's Premiership action. We'll, of course, look at predicting next week's games a bit later.
And we'll go over our predictions at the same time.
Okay. But first, let's talk about the internationals coming up this week.
Yes.
Now it is officially the autumn internationals. So we start with Scotland against Tonga at Murrayfield. Looking forward to that game?
I am, but I don't expect it to be an absolute one for the classics.
No, especially given how Tonga were earlier on in the year against the US, where they lost 102-0 or something, was it?
Yeah, I mean you'd expect Scotland to easily have this one.
Yeah, you would, and maybe put much tries together.
Imagine where Tonga could be if they were allowed players like Charles Piutau.
Yeah,
and all the players that went to New Zealand. From Tonga.
Yeah, but that probably won't happen anytime soon.
No.
Yeah, I just got here in the notes disappointing Tonga.
I've seen that, yeah.
Yeah, because that's really what they were. That's what they have been, really.
There's not really much we can say with what we expect. It'll be interesting to see how Scotland are, because they were looking fairly strong in the Six Nations compared to how they've been in previous years. So,
yeah, and of course,
can Scotland be a serious contender?
We'll see a changed Scotland side because games, of course, outside the international window.
Yeah,
it'll just be Scottish-based players, but it'll be interesting to see how they fare. I predict it will be a fairly easy win for Scotland.
I think so too. Yeah,
but hoping to see them put together some nice tries. Praying some Gregor Townsend.
And I hope Tonga put up some good competition as well.
Yeah, you do hope, because it's always good to see tier 2 nations.
Definitely. I was about to say the exact same words.
But I just can't really see that happening this weekend.
Yeah.
But anyway, we'll move on then to the big game this weekend.
Especially for you.
Especially for me. It is Wales against New Zealand in Cardiff in a sold-out Principality. It's in a sold-out Millennium Stadium.
And don't you have some tickets to that?
You're going to tickets to that, and I'm very excited to be going to that. So, I'll post stuff on our social media on Instagram.
Yes.
So I am very much looking forward to it. If anything, because I don't think Wales will win.
Not in the cars.
but it's going to be great to be in in Cardiff on a match day again in a packed out stadium.
Yeah.
So, how do you see it going this weekend then?
Well, I don't know what the New Zealand squad's looking like, to be honest.
Well, they put out a very strong squad against the USA, and predict they will the same again. I think the only, I would say, probably person you'd think is going to start is Bowden Barrett, because it will be his 100th appearance this year he plays, and you don't see many people making the 100th appearance off the bench.
Yeah.
So 100th cap. So I predict he'll start. But other than that,
I mean, how much is it going to hurt Wales with this being outside the international window?
I was going to do this when we talked. I was going to talk about what I think Wales' starting lineup was going to be, because being outside the international window without first choice fly halves.
It's the fly half crisis, really, with Wales.
Centres as well, I'm not encouraged by. Also, the back three.
Yeah. Just the whole team, it sounds like.
Also, the back row, because Faletau is not available.
Yeah.
It'll be interesting to see what they go with. Do you know what? One person I was actually surprised who's not in the Wales squad is Jack Morgan. He plays for the Ospreys at open side, and the Ospreys beat Munster this weekend.
Oh wow, I didn't know that.
15 points to 10.
Oh wow,
that's a big result for the Ospreys.
It is huge.
A big result, and of course, they were without their all their Wales internationals because they were all away training. Admittedly, it was a changed Munster side, but Munster are always a good team. and a much changed Munster side put 43 points on the Scarlets a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
So you'd have to say that's a big result. But man of the match in that game was Jack Morgan at open side, a young flanker who I like him. He was always putting a great performance, and with no brick this autumn, I thought it would have been a good opportunity for him. I think I don't want to say he should be in there over. I'm going to struggle to say a second name. Christ. It's in my notes from last week. You know what I'm talking about. Let's just call him Chris from now on. Have him in over. I'm not saying he should be in over Chris because it's a big accomplishment. But if I were to pick between the two, I'd be picking Jack Morgan.
Yeah.
So, but he put in an excellent performance against Munster, picking up man of the match in that game. And in honesty, I wouldn't have minded seeing him have a run out, maybe not against New Zealand, but in the autumn at some point. But anyway, my starting 15, if I go through this quickly.
Okay.
Because I'll
sit back and listen.
Who I think will be the starting 15. So front row is the usual one: Wyn Jones, Ken Owens, Thomas Francis.
Solid.
Decent front row. Second row: Adam Beard, Alan Wyn Jones.
Again, solid.
Complaining with that. Back row is where it's a bit interesting.
Yeah, it gets spicy.
Because without Tipbrick, he's injured. No Faletau. So I've gone with, at 6, Ross Moriarty.
Yeah.
This is actually because I got Aaron Wainwright at 8. And it was, for me...
Interesting.
The thing is, for the Dragons, Wainwright plays 8, Moriarty plays 6.
Yeah.
And I would predict that would be the case for Wales, because in the World Cup, you had...
I would put Moriarty 6 rather than 8.
Moriarty 6. The one player who I feel is actually going to be the biggest miss is actually Josh Navidi. He's injured.
Yeah, I've never been a massive fan of him, to be honest.
I think Josh Navidi is a great player. I really do. I think he's a massive miss. But anyway, at 7, I think Ellis Jenkins from Cardiff now. He's back from injury, from a lot of injury setbacks, and it's good to see him back playing rugby. It was either between him and Tane Basham, but Tane Basham's a bit younger, a bit inexperienced. Starting against New Zealand. I'd have him on the bench though. Mind you, I think that's all we can do is put him on the bench. Anyway, at halfbacks, Thomas Williams starts at 9 for me because I really don't like Gareth Davis. And Kieran Hardy has been playing not well for the Scarlets, and I think Thomas Williams is the obvious choice.
Yeah.
He should have been the Welsh scrum half that went on the Lions tour. But 10 is where you're sort of interesting because it's obviously not either of the first choice ones.
Yeah.
It's between Anscombe and Priestland.
Yeah. I mean, not the best two to pick from.
No, well, Anscombe was playing good rugby before his injury, but he's only playing 20 minutes, of course.
I mean, if they were both
rugby in 2 years,
I'd pick Anscombe.
I've picked Anscombe, and I've picked Anscombe. I think he's been playing well since he's come back, although being injured for the last 2 years, it's difficult to really say how he's really playing, but I think he's played very well. He's played well, and I think he's actually the obvious choice to start at 10 over Priestland. Centres is where Wales are very, very
weak,
lack squad depth.
Yeah.
So for that, I've put Jonathan Davis at 12.
Yeah.
Because Jonathan Davis, I don't think has been playing his best rugby recently. I think he's looking a bit past it.
Yeah, I haven't really followed.
He's still a very good player, don't get me wrong, but for the Scarlets at the start of the season, I don't think he's been good enough. But I think 12 is almost going to suit him more now. And then at 13, that leaves, I think, Halaholo. From Cardiff, because if he's a big miss, George North.
Yeah.
He was playing such good rugby.
I've never been a fan of George North at centre, though.
I was this Six Nations, he seemed to learn the position. And I thought he was very good. He was great to watch there. Anyway, now the back three is where it's a bit interesting. So I've put here what I probably want it to be.
Yeah.
But it's actually in question. So at fullback, I've gone Liam Williams, the obvious choice.
Yeah.
But he might not be fit for the game.
Ooh.
So that's a bit difficult to say. In which case, you either go with Johnny McNichol, who I think is an average player at best. I don't think he's all player. He's
Q3 shots.
New Zealander. He's not All Blacks quality, and I don't think he's very good enough to play against New Zealand. So in honesty, if Liam Williams isn't fit, then I'd say Josh Adams at fullback.
I'd actually like to see that.
He's played there for Cardiff before. Of course, I'm on the wing, but he's great under the high ball. About how he reads the space in a way that Liam Williams and
he's an international world class player.
Yeah. But he'll be who I pick up fullback if Williams is available. But if Williams is available, he has to start there. And of course, Josh Adams on one wing.
Yeah.
And then on the other wing, this is a news day we're calling this on Monday again, is Alex Cuthbert got called up to the Wales squad.
Yeah.
And listen, I'm not the biggest fan of Cuthbert, but I'd have him in the starting 15.
Yeah.
You know what's weird, yeah? Cuthbert and Prieston in the Wales squad. Are we in 2012 or something? I mean, what's going on here?
Feels like old times.
So that's my 15. I don't think that's capable of beating New Zealand.
No.
Well, this was interesting.
It's capable of not getting absolutely destroyed.
Josh Adams was talking about it, how he thinks that Wales would have been better placed to beat the Springboks than South Africa are. He thinks that Wales' type of play is better than the Lions' style of play, as it was over the...
unless you have the Lions from the third test with Finn Russell.
Yeah, but look, I, of course, love Warren Gatland. I trust him with my life. And Wales enjoyed great...
It's interesting for a man you don't know at all, but...
Wales enjoyed... How could you... Look, how could you not trust him with your life when he's won 3 Grand Slams?
I've seen your... what's the name of those?
Grog.
The grog of him.
Yeah, he's led Wales to 2 World Cup semi-finals, losing by combined score of...
Well, at the end of the day, whether you trust him or not because of that comes down to whether you're a Wales supporter or an England supporter.
Trust him in my life. And with the Lions, he was the first Lions coach to win a series in 16 years against Australia.
Yeah.
And he was able to not get beat by the All Blacks and draw the series.
Yeah.
I trust that man with my life, Kieran. But even though Wales enjoyed great success against Northern Hemisphere teams, their record against Southern Hemisphere teams were always not as good.
Yeah.
Now, of course, whether that's because Southern Hemisphere teams are just better is up for question. But particularly by what you get from Josh Adams is saying is that style of play is not equipped to beat the Southern Hemisphere teams, when maybe the style that Wales are playing at the moment under Pivac, which is
that's true,
a faster paced game, is more equipped. Maybe not to beat the All Blacks, because what game plan is equipped to beat the All Blacks?
Well, you've seen teams I'd say you've seen teams. You look at England in the semi-final once.
But in general, what style of play is there to beat the All Blacks? But certainly I would say maybe this style of play is more well equipped to beat Australia and South Africa than we were under Gatland for many years.
It'll be interesting to see.
Of course, I want to clarify, I am not slagging off Gatland in any way. Once again, I trust that man with my life.
It's just simple styles of play with difference between the coaches.
Yeah. But anyway, so I'll ask, and I want to score predictions for the game on Saturday.
Oh, you really? This is a tough one. Because Wales aren't a bad team, and in a full strength Wales side, I could back to do very well against New Zealand.
Yeah.
So I think New Zealand are going to win. I'll start off saying that. Regardless, I would have probably backed New Zealand to win.
Yeah.
By how much? I don't think it's going to be horrible. I don't think it's going to be... I think by international standards, it's not going to be a really close game to the end, but I think by 15. New Zealand by 15.
That's actually closer than I'm going to go. I think that Wales, if we had our English-based players, would be a lot better equipped. But don't get me wrong, it's not a bad Wales squad. The big miss, of course, Lewis Rees-Zammit and Dan Biggar.
Yeah.
Because the thing is, the centres wouldn't change if we had our English-based players.
Yeah.
Also, injury-wise as well, no Navidi, no Tiprick. That's big losses there in the back row. And Faletau as well not being available is another big loss.
Yeah.
But I think it's still a good Wales team, and the way we played in the Six Nations, we looked quite good. So I think I'm going to go with a score. I think it'll be Wales 22, New Zealand 44. I think.
And I was writing them down. I had New Zealand by. So what was it? Wales?
Wales 22, New Zealand 44.
All right.
And I would not be embarrassed by that in the slightest.
I think that's a good score. I think that,
especially I think
fair amount of points to Wales.
So,
and it's not so high of a score they got absolutely run over. They still put up a bit of a fight.
But I think that's a real prediction. But I'm very much looking forward to it, more for the matchday experience than the rugby. Anyway, that's Wales, New Zealand. Should we go over? Do you want to go over our predictions?
I was about to say. So I'll just do a quick introduction. So what we're going to do is every week we're going to make predictions for the next Premiership games, and we're going to award points if we get predictions correct. So we're going to have a little running table. Hugh and I are going to start this week, and then as we grow on our socials, we'll be posting things for people to predict, and we can create a score with the top scoring people as well.
Yeah.
So the scoring is if you guess the right team that wins, you get 1 point. Just because you've done enough to get something right and have some sense.
Yeah.
If you guess the exact score, however, you get 4 points. And that's not in addition to, that's 4 points in total for getting the right team and the right score. So we'll go over this fairly quickly, of course, because everyone's heard of what we've said about the games.
Yeah.
But so Saints v Worcester. Of course, the score in that game was 66-14.
Sorry, I got that wrong in the notes. It's 66-10, actually. It was
66-10. Okay, I was looking at the notes.
Yeah, 56-point margin.
So you got closer than me on this one.
Woo!
You predicted Saints by 34.
Oh!
And I predicted Saints by 27.
Well, you had way too much faith in Worcester.
I didn't think they'd be that shit, to be honest.
Well, they were, and our predictions looked stupid. Anyway, what was the next one?
So Chiefs v Irish.
Yeah.
Of course, enlighten me on the score on that one. 21-33.
Yeah.
Now, we both got this completely wrong.
Yeah.
We both said Chiefs. You said Chiefs by 29, so don't know what you're on about there. I said Chiefs by 17, but I did, listening over this, and I've written in the notes, I did say that Chiefs wouldn't have it so easy, and they definitely didn't have it so easy.
Well done on that.
I still said they'd win by 17 points.
Yeah. So we both got that very wrong, and honestly, nobody can blame us for those predictions.
No.
They were logical ones to make, but Irish just...
So Gloucester v Falcons.
Yeah.
I said... Foolishly, what a fool I was, I said Falcons by 7.
Oh, you idiot.
Now, Hugh, do you have any idea what you said? If you had to guess what you said again, what would you think?
If I can remember...
Score in this game, 29-20.
Did I say Gloucester by 4?
No, you said Gloucester by 11.
Okay. Well, they got Gloucester by 9. That's close.
Yeah, it was very, very close.
Okay, I'll take that.
So next, we've got Quins v Bath.
All right. Oh, I remember this because you really thought Bath would do bad.
I thought they really would. Look at their scores and look at the type of team Quins are. I said Quins by 45.
You fool.
Oh no, I'm really not doing well on these predictions. I've got 1 so far. You said Quins by 16 though.
That's not.
Means we both get 1 point. So despite me being absolutely miles off,
damn it, I was only 2 points off as well.
I still get the same amount of points as you.
Oh, this is ridiculous.
That's the beauty of this.
All right, then. Tigers v Sharks, then.
See, this is where I'm another fool.
You idiot.
It was close. I did have it close. I said Sale by 2. So I had it as a close game, but you also had it as a close game, but not quite. You were 2 points off here, Hugh. You said Tigers by 4.
Oh!
That's harsh, but it is wrong. So.
Oh, that's okay. All right.
So Sharons Wasps. We both seem to think Wasps were a reasonably good team. Yeah. How stupid we were to assume that.
Yeah.
I mean, of course, we make these predictions before the squads come out as well.
Yeah, of course.
Which is a bit of the fun of seeing what we think, because we also have to basically predict what type of squad they're going to put out. You said Saracens by 13, I said Saracens by 12. Both wrong.
All right.
By a fair amount. By the end of that, you got 5 points. I got 3.
Yes, I was predicting Wasps to put out a better team than they did.
Yeah, same.
But okay, so that was last week's prediction.
For next week.
Right then. First up is on Friday night.
Gloucester
against Exeter.
Do you want to go first?
I'll go first. It's at Kingsholm. And I think
got a picture in my head.
Could Gloucester possibly could the shed propel Gloucester forward to a win? I think Exeter will bounce back though. But I don't think Exeter will be convincing. I think it will be Exeter by 6.
She's by 6. Well, I had in my head, I think Gloucester by 4.
Really? You're going for a Gloucester win? That is interesting.
Just from what you've said about Exeter's performance, really.
Yeah, okay.
Of course, I haven't seen them, so I'm very blind.
Maybe I really laid into Exeter to play mind games with you. Maybe they're actually good and just really.
No, I just want to stir things up. I think I've got to play some risks in this game.
Fair enough. Right then.
So Bath v Wasps.
Yeah, you first on this one.
I'll go first on this one. Sorry, Bath again. I'm going to go Wasps by 13.
Wasps by 13, okay.
We've got to have a massive celebration the first time one of us gets one of these completely right.
Okay, do you know what? I think Wasps will win because I think they'll put in their starters that are available this week. It hurts because I want to say Bath well, but I can't do it.
This is like pain for you.
I'm going to go Wasps by 9.
9. So next, Irish v Bears. Would you enlighten me with your prediction for this thrilling, sure-to-be game? Irish at home?
I'm going to go Irish by 1.
Oh, you're very close to what I was going to predict.
Really?
But I'm a Bristol supporter, so I'm going Bristol by 2.
Bristol by 2, okay.
Within 3 points,
we got it.
It's hardly picking a winner. I mean, half the reason I'm picking Bristol is because I support Bristol. Actually, that's 99% of the reason I'm picking Bristol. How else could I
put the biases aside? I didn't pick
off an Irish side that have had a thrilling defence against the Chiefs team and just beat them. But we move on to Saints v Tigers.
Big game, that.
It's me, isn't it? Yeah. I think I'd be a fool not to back Tigers.
Yeah.
Saints, they've just played Worcester. They've basically not had a competitive game. That's not being harsh to Worcester. It was like a training ground game.
Yeah.
So I think Tigers, I'm gonna go by 6.
Okay. It's going to be an interesting game. Of course, a derby, a big derby.
Huge.
And do you know what? It's probably be the best one for a while because both teams are actually performing well.
Yeah.
And both teams are sort of in their stride right now. I would have to say, I think Northampton are going to stop the Tigers. And I think Northampton will take it by 5.
Saints by 5.
Yeah.
So next,
Next is Worcester
Warriors v Sale.
I'm going Sale by 24.
Wow, how generous of you to Worcester. Oh my God. I'm going to go Worcester, but no, I'm kidding. I'm going to go Sale by 31.
Okay.
It's not too different to yours, actually.
No.
So next is Quins v Sarries.
What a game.
Yeah, I'm really intrigued, actually. I'm gonna go with... I almost want to flip a coin on this one.
Yeah.
But the thing is, whichever side wins, I don't think it's going to be a close game.
Really?
So I think whichever side wins is going to have the measure over the other team a fair amount. I don't think it's going to be a close game, but it's a coin toss between who has the measure of the other.
Yeah.
I'm going to go Sarries by 12.
Okay.
I don't think it's going to be particularly high scoring. I just think they'll have a comfortable measure over the Quins.
Okay. Now, this game, they're without their England internationals because they're away for training camp this week.
Can I change my... No, I'll leave that prediction there.
Well, the thing is, even though that's actually a bit disappointing about their England internationals, they both still have a lot of quality in their squads.
Yeah.
A lot of quality.
My worry would be Quins without Marcus Smith are not the same completely.
But
I mean, not willing to give you any extra.
No, but the thing is, I do want to say Quins.
I want to say Quins. I think
it will be Sarries, but I'm going to go Sarries by 4.
Nice, yeah, solid predictions.
Yeah.
Now, I've just off the top of my head thought of something else prediction-wise we could do, and I want 2 wild out there predictions for the weekend. So this could be something like a prop sells a dummy and scores a try. Or it could be something simple like Charles Piutau absolutely ankle breaks someone and makes a 50-meter run to set up a try. Okay. Something outlandish that is never going to happen.
Okay.
I'll give you some time to think while I write.
No, I got one, I think.
Okay, I'm just going to write this down.
I think we'll get through a weekend where you don't have a scrum half being a prick.
Well, what quantifies being a prick?
I think we know it when we see it on a rugby ball.
Oh, you're going to do that with the Bristol scrum halves playing. The Bristol scrum halves are such nuisances at the scrums.
But I'm going to say we're going to get through a weekend where we don't have a scrum half being a prick.
And we need another one. We're having 2 of these each.
My second one is we're going to see a loose head prop wear leggings.
Thing is, a loose head prop can because they don't need to be lifted.
Yeah, so that's what I'm going with. A loose head prop to wear leggings and a scrum half to not be a prick.
I also was thinking on the leggings line, actually.
Yeah?
But I was going to go for the amount of players. No.
Right, last week we had 2 because Max Malins did as well.
Yeah, I don't think I'm going to go with that in the end. I think... Johan Lloyd.
Okay.
Going to come off the bench.
All right.
Or start. I'm just going to go Johan Lloyd in general because I think don't add too many complications.
All right.
I need to spell his name now. Is going to be on the wing. He's going to get the ball and he's going to do a lovely chip chase, regather to set up. Can I just do it in general? He's going to do a lovely break from a chip chase, regather.
All right, okay.
Although I'm not going to watch the game, so how am I going to know? But
we'll see on the highlights if it leads to something.
I'll do a try. Chip chase, regather, try.
Okay, fair enough. All right.
And then my second one, I don't want to stick with Bristol, so I'll go a generalised one. I'm gonna go with I'm gonna back the leggings. I'm gonna think there's gonna be 4 players in one match wearing leggings.
4 in one match?
Yes.
4? Are you insane?
Well, they've all had time to go out and buy them now.
4 wingers, isn't it?
Yeah, it's all the four wingers. Or maybe it's that one. Maybe it's that one loose head prop.
That one, yeah. Okay.
And that I'm calling that the outlandish predictions, but we will come up with a fancy name.
Yeah. All right. Okay. All right then. So I guess that sort of sums it up.
Concludes the second episode of the podcast.
Yeah, brings it to an end.
Yeah. So thank you everyone for listening to us talk absolute tosh about the rugby.
Yeah.
If that's a usable word.
We do appreciate you sticking with us.
We do. If you've got to this far, then comment in the comments section. What word should we have for people that have got this far to comment?
Oh God, what's an interesting word?
Let's do a phrase. Let's do something about Johnny May wearing leggings.
All right. You see, I wouldn't say like Johnny May's a twat because that could just be put generally.
Or put the price you would pay.
What, for Johnny May's leggings?
Yes. But the price you would pay for Johnny May's leggings.
All right. Okay,
and if anyone does that, because I doubt anyone actually is, but if anyone does that, then you'll forever be known in our hearts.
Yeah, exactly. But that sums up for this week. So make sure to follow us on Instagram and TikTok. They're both at the Rugby Hour.
And we have some absolute crackers of memes.
We do. Not just that, but we'll also be posting. I think maybe this week for next week's episode, we'll ask for any topics anyone wants talked about.
Exactly.
So
yeah.
We want your topic discussed, and make sure to follow us on Instagram and on TikTok.
Yep.
Other than that, I suppose thank you very much for listening. From me, Hugh, it's goodbye.
And from me, Kieran, it's goodbye. Thank you.